Sharon Koskoff. I'm going to read it because she has quite a few accomplishments. And smile because she's taking your picture. Sharon Koskoff is a mural artist and designer. She graduated from Brooklyn College with a degree in fine arts and also the New School of Interior Design, where she mastered color theory. As a preservationist, she founded the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches in 1987, and she has also authored Art Deco of the Palm Beaches, which is an Arcadia publication in 2007, and there is a little information in the handout about how you can obtain a copy of that book. Presently, Sharon is the chairperson of the Public Art Advisory Board of Delray Beach. She's an art instructor at the School of Creative Arts, and she's a group tour leader at the Society of the Four Arts in Palm Beach. So please join me in welcoming Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you. Hurricane Matthew survivors, right? I'm still surviving. I'm still putting everything away. I live in Delray Beach, Florida for 30 years and Brooklyn, New York for 30 years. And I'm here with Ron Warren tonight on video. And I go around giving information and lectures, anything art and architectural I'm kind of involved in Palm Beach County, although getting to Broward was interesting tonight. We got hit the rush hour. You have, hopefully you took a handout, things to look for in Art Deco architecture. So we're going to learn tonight what is Art Deco and how to find the architecture. And then we're going to experience through my eyes a trip that I went to Cuba. So some of you will say, wow, what a timely topic. You know, Cuba is so close to my heart. What would it be like if I went there? So we'll have a lot of questions answered, and maybe questions will come above. That we can have a question and answer period afterwards. Also, I have a copy of my book, Art Deco of the Palm Beaches, which you can look through. And I would be happy to sign a copy for you if anybody wants to buy it. It's $25, but you could also just look through it, after that. So we're going to jump right in. I think we're going to turn off lights. I'm not sure. Let's see. Are we going to do that? Are there lights? Yes. Okay. So we're starting off with, I'm Sharon Koskoff, and president of the Art Deco Society of the Palm Beaches. We run a free lecture series at the Armory Art Center in West Palm Beach called Art Deco Second Wednesdays, January, February, and March evenings. And we have cake and wine. Everybody comes out. And here's my book again. And there's many topics from Arcadia Publications. The book might look familiar to you. It's that brown cover, the sepia tone cover. There's one of Fort Lauderdale, of Miami, of almost any city that you live in, probably one from Davie. And first I'm going to show you some Art Deco of the Palm Beaches. This is the Armory Art Center. I taught here for 15 years. It was originally a 1939 William Manley King building. It was actually a National Guard fort. So what is Art Deco anyway? What are we talking about here? Art Deco, we know it's in South Beach. Everybody knows Miami, especially here. We know it's in South Beach. What do you mean it's in Palm Beach County? And you know what? There's a lot of Art Deco in Broward County, just no one has documented it. So what is Art Deco? Let's start with, what's Art Nouveau? You always hear Art Nouveau, Art Deco clumped together like a jewelry estate sale. So what is that? Art Nouveau started in the 1890s. It was feminine, flowery, a celebration of nature. It's organic. It's Alphonse Mucha is an artist. He does those women with the vines in their hair. Voluptuous, sexy, romantic women. Things growing like flowers, organic. Toulouse-Lautrec with the feminine can-can girls and the crinoline skirts. By the 1910s and 1920s, you have a revolt against Art Nouveau. You have modernism. 1922, Howard Carter discovers King Tut's tomb, and all the rage is Egyptian, right? You have the Industrial Revolution. You have the machine age. And in this machine age, we know machines are the wave of the future. So people are buying things made by machine, but they don't like machine made. Machine made is crass, it's ugly, it's machine made, it's cheap. People want old world craftsmanship, handmade. But we know machines are the wave of the future. So they discovered that the machine can do one thing you could not do by hand, and that was make a straight line. So they look back into all of art history, Japanese, Mayan, Aztec, Egyptian, and they copy all of these geometric straight line designs. And they called it modern. In 1968, right, the 1968, they looked back. There was an international exposition des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes. Arts Décoratifs, Arts Deco. So in 1968, they said, let's call everything Art Deco. From 1925 to 1939, when this building was built, because of the war. The war came and then everything Art Deco stopped. Factories produced things, for World War II. So we have Art Nouveau is feminine, Art Deco is masculine, futuristic, speed, looking into the future. And this is one of the reasons why we are even here tonight talking about Art Deco. Because right now we can all relate to that speed society, that fast society, which will tell you, let's turn off our phones because we're all going to get a phone call tonight, right? We're all watching the news instantly. Donald Trump is tweeting, everything is so fast. So because of this fast society we live in, we can kind of relate to that Art Deco, modernism. And we look here, we're going to start seeing some Art Deco architecture. Now in Miami, it's all, congested. It's all in one district. In Delray Beach, in West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, it's all located on the eastern shore in the older history, the older historic downtowns. So Palm Beach County has Art Deco, but it's few and far between. If you look at the book, it all looks like, oh my God, there's so much Art Deco, but it's spread out. And when it's spread out, it's even more endangered. Here I am painting the Armory Art Center, something I never thought would happen. Leonard Horowitz in Miami worked with Barbara Bayer Capitman, the queen of Art Deco, and painted up all those hotels, and he caused all the attention to the Art Deco buildings. And wow, in Palm Beach County, we got to paint a building. And this is what it looked like in the 80s. Red, yellow, and blue are primary colors. Green, purple, orange were secondary colors. Everything in the 80s were these colors, the pastels, the lavender, the peach, the green. This is what it looks like today in my book. So what makes this Art Deco? What makes it Art Deco, first of all, is the flat roof. And then it looks like a pyramid. See how it steps up and steps down? We call that a zigzag, a lightning bolt. We have fluted ribbing. These columns are ribbed. We call that fluted ribbon. This is very important here. This is called an eyebrow. An eyebrow is a flat linear plane or a shelf over a window. Here we would understand, well, it would protect the sun, keep the house cool. It's a functional element. But an eyebrow is Art Deco. The words armory, which are a relief. Relief is, a design in the concrete. It tells you what the building is. That would be an Art Deco element. There's no neon here, but neon would be an Art Deco element. Glass block, again, functional to keep the heat out. So these things make it Art Deco. Another important Art Deco element, threes. Everything is 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or down, up, down, like a triangle, a chevron. That would be Art Deco. And this is what it looks like today. They painted it, they got rid of those colors. One of the other sculpture buildings has a blue roof, so they painted the elements blue. There's no contrast with the sky. You heard I'm a color theorist, not happy with those colors. The new color today, everything is yellow. So let's see. Here's another Art Deco building in Palm Beach County. This is the Twin Lakes High School building where Burt Reynolds went to school. It's now called Dreyfus School of the Arts. It's an A school. Every single parent wants their kid to go to this school. It's a great school. We had to save it from the school board, and this is what it looks like today. We know it's Art Deco. We already learned. 1, 2, 3. See how it steps down? See the flat roof? No triangular roofs, flat, makes it Art Deco. 1, 2, 3. We did not talk about this, but rounded corners, streamlined for speed. Art Deco in South Florida is actually streamlined modern. It's more like the 1930s and 40s. It's more the absence of man's idiosyncratic embellishment, which means less design, more speed. Okay, so Art Deco, minimalism, right? Think of the Bauhaus in Germany. Alex? Okay, here's more of that building, what it looks like today. Nice and restored. Martin County Courthouse. Remember we talked about the chevron, the little triangles up, down. That's Art Deco, flat roof. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A little bit of relief. This is now the home of the Cultural Council of Martin County. Now I'm a mural artist and designer. I work with large public art. I have hundreds of murals in Palm Beach County public schools. And when I was researching the book, what occurred to me was our arts buildings, meaning the Dreyfus School of the Arts, meaning this cultural county courthouse. We just saw the Armory Art Center. Ironically, our arts institutions are housed in old Art Deco buildings. Isn't that cool? The Norton Museum of Art, I spoke last week. We had an Art Deco evening. 1, 2, 3, and they have these Paul Manship sculptures, these bronze sculptures. There's the fluted ribbing. Here's fluted ribbing, little stepping up like a pyramid. 1, 2, 3. Diana and Actaeon. And it's the same Paul Manship that we watch every day on TV5, NBC, the Today Show at 9 o'clock in the morning at Rockefeller Center. The Paul Manship sculptures. See how it's masculine, right? Art Deco has masculine images. You know, the gods, the Greek mythology, the strong man holding up the Atlas, holding up the earth. All of these are Art Deco powerful images. These are the relief at the Norton Museum of Art, and I even made my own interpretation in a painting. Here we also have another Art Deco building. It's the home of the Palm Beach County Cultural Council. And this is one of my favorite Art Deco buildings. Rounded corner, flat roof, little stepping down, stepping back, and here we'll see 6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, reaching to the sky. And I love this building in white. This doesn't need to be painted up in any colors. If anything, some nice lighting, night lighting in colors would be nice. But this is our cultural council. They give all the grants to the nonprofit organizations in Palm Beach County. Here we see a photography, artsy picture, another one. Here's the 1, 2, 3, right? Reaching to the heavens. This is inside of that building. It's not Art Deco, but I included inside the building. It's a Tom Otterness relief. Lake Worth Playhouse, also Palm Beach County, Moorish Deco. Moorish means Spanish Deco. There's a whole realm of Moorish Deco. And this doesn't look like the other buildings, right? It's not as straight line, but we have the 1, 2, 3s and the 1, 2, 3. Hurricane came. This is the interior roof of the ceiling. It was originally the Oakley Theater, the OT. Pecky cypress ceiling. You'll see this in the Wolfsonian Museum in Miami, where they have an original Pecky cypress ceiling from one of the buildings. But this is what it looked like after the hurricane. Flat roof, 1, 2, 3, these horizontal bandings. Art Deco lettering is thick and thin, right, very linear. Sharon Koskoff comes along, paints the building yellow, right, because yellow is a new color. And I said, you're going to get a neon marquee And they said, we can't do that. And I said, oh yeah. And this is what it looks like. We created a gateway to downtown Lake Worth. I designed the new marquee and the neon. In fact, when Publix wanted to build a new Publix downtown Lake Worth, they came with a Mediterranean Revival, blueprint. And the people on Site Plan Review Board said, Sharon Koskoff's book said we have the largest Art Deco in Palm Beach County. We want an Art Deco Publix. And they went and they copied the Miami, right? Publix said, no problem, we could do that. We come back, we'll give you new plans. And they made an Art Deco Publix with the wings, the triangles, the stripes, geometric. Now they didn't put yellow on this because Publix is very conservative. But if they would have put a little yellow with the peach and green, it wouldn't have looked so 80s, right? It would have looked like the year 2000. But it's just opened a few years ago. Very successful pedestrian Publix. And the book makes all kinds of headlines, front page, all the Art Deco, wonderful. It's not just the Miami Beach scene, right? Art Deco is all over the world. Anywhere there's architecture built in the 30s and 40s. So when Australia was leveled because of an earthquake, Australia has 3 Art Deco societies all over the world. Cape Town, South Africa, all over the United States. We have Chicago, Detroit, Tulsa, 2 in California, Boston, Detroit, Texas. We're going to Cleveland in 2 years, March 2017 for a World Congress. Look at that. Look at all those crazy colors, right? So let's go to Havana, right? That's what you came here to find out about. Let's go to Cuba. Take this plane to Cuba. So I'm the only one who actually drove to the airport. The International Coalition of Art Deco Societies from the whole world, Art Deco Societies, joined a group formed by Barbara Bayer Capitman. She wanted all of the Art Deco societies to get together. So I just drove down at 3 o'clock in the morning to be at the airport by 4:30. Everyone else had to take planes, but here they are, all of our group. There's about 250 in the group, and we arrive in Cuba. I'm the only one who wanted a telephone. My parents were alive, they had Alzheimer's. If I was going away for a week, I wanted to hear their voice every day. So I worked it out where I got an old telephone with no technology. And then they unlocked it here in the States. And then you go there, and I gave them $60, and it gave me 30 minutes. And I just dialed it like a regular phone. I was able to call Florida like a regular cell phone. Now, when you travel to Cuba, you go first class. They don't really show you a poor time. It costs about $5,000 to go for the week. So you're on beautiful buses, first class buses. First thing you see, Che Guevara. Everything is Che, Che, Che. But you also notice the old cars. Like, what's up with those cars, right? Well, it turns out Canada is really who's supporting Cuba right now. Their biggest attraction is tourism, and all the Canadians are allowed to fly to Cuba. So you'll see these flags. So here we are, we're on the bus. There were 4 buses in our group of the 250 people, and we're going to lunch. We've arrived in Cuba, and wow, I'm taking pictures from the bus because everywhere you look, there's something to see. So far, there's no cars, right? Just another bus and a bicycle. But we see the Art Deco silhouette right out of the armory, right? So we already know there's Art Deco. A lot of the architecture we'll see in Cuba is called Beaux-Arts, which is neoclassical, which is very formal and fancy, right? Very decorative with the columns, very embellished. And right away we see some Art Deco stripes, we see a modern clock, we see squares. This is the Art Nouveau I was talking about. We have no Art Nouveau in the United States. You'll see Art Nouveau in Brussels, in France, the train stations. But you see how Art Nouveau is wavy and curly and moving, organic. I was so excited to see something Art Nouveau because I talk about it so much. And I love Art Nouveau, by the way. It's not, they might be opposites, but it's a very rich period of design. But here's your typical Art Deco in Cuba. 1, 2, 3, the flat roof, the boxy, the straight lines, the little rounded patios. And there's, of course, another bus. More cars. So now I'm getting into the texture. Wow, look at texture. You know, the mold and the mildew and the webs and things, just the texture. But here I see green, purple, blue. Green, purple, blue are the cool colors. Red, orange, and yellow are fire colors. So warm and cool. Everything in art world now is warm and cool. So I took this picture because of the purple, the blue, and the green. Okay, texture. You'll see one building falling apart next to another building that's just been repainted. There is no rhyme or reason. It's not like this is a good neighborhood and that's a bad neighborhood or a different section. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no Home Depot to go to when your window cracks to like repair something yourself. Okay, here's a broken window. Break a window, it's probably just going to stay broken. Okay, but we're seeing Art Deco, we're seeing the stripes. Corner entrances are very good design, and they're used in a lot of the Art Deco hotels. We'll see triangles and squares and portholes, things like this, but it's basically the 1, 2, 3 that we kind of see. All these cars and colors. Taxis. We'll see taxis. So here we are on the street. This is typical. Millions of people on the street. Cars are broken down. There's no automobile store. There's no parts. So they might take a part from a coffee maker and, you know, rig an automobile. They're very creative, very ingenious problem solvers. And that's what art is all about. So we're finally arriving closer to our lunch destination, and we see all this not Art Deco architecture, this neoclassical. Look at the street signs. They're like so new and modern, I thought. And we've arrived at our lunch place. We're in downtown Old Havana. And it was the first time I saw some construction, like, wow, something's being fixed or something. But look at the lunch. Wow, it's like a wedding. So in this very fancy, elaborate lunch place, and the ceiling is stained glass, and it's first class. It includes 3 glasses of wine. Every lunch, every dinner had performing arts. So they might have, you know, flamenco dancing, or a band playing, or an opera. Right? So here we're having lunch. We finally arrived. We get to the hotel. The hotel is on the ocean. It's called the Hotel Nacional, which is the finest hotel in Cuba, Havana. And there's the lighthouse. You know, it's an island. So like the Armory Art Center, you know, you have to protect yourself. And so you have to have lighthouse. You have to have forts. And here we are, the first evening of the hotel. It's the 12th annual World Congress of Art Deco. This year they went to Shanghai, China. I did not go there. I am gluten-free, and eating Chinese food would have been a nightmare for me. But they had this wonderful transgender 7-foot-tall model at every performance dressed in Art Deco clothing. And the next morning, we finally arrive at our first tourist destination. This is Art Deco, right? Kind of looks Bauhaus. We see the rounded corner here, the stepping up, the flat roof. And we're at a vintage film poster exhibition. This is the director, Alfredo Guevara. And here's all my Art Deco people running around taking pictures. Because that's what we all do. We run around and take pictures so we can bring them to you. So it's very hard to get a picture without the group, right? Everywhere, these fabulous posters. You think of Gone with the Wind, but these are the Cuban movies. All historic posters, just amazing. And we're all taking pictures of the staircases and the Art Deco flooring. And she's taking a picture out there, but I love this picture. And we come to our first bathroom. Yes, we're going to look at Cuban bathrooms. Very hard to find a toilet seat in Cuba. The hotel has them. Very hard to find plumbing in Cuba. The hotel has it. Very hard to find air conditioning, elevators that work. Unfortunately, you go to the ballet, you go to the bathroom in the ballet, and there's a woman there, and she kind of follows you in with a bucket of water. Kind of demeaning, but very acceptable. That's just the way it is. The hotel has air conditioning, it had hot water, bathtubs, but this is actually kind of a nice bathroom if you think about it. All right, beautiful. So everyone gets on the bus, and I get to take one picture without anyone in it. Get back on the bus, all these fabulous automobiles from the 50s, because we will not trade. There's an embargo. We don't trade. Cuba's left out of getting anything new. We arrive at lunch. This is not an Art Deco building, right? We know that. It's a little fancier than the Art Deco. But they were having a fashion show, Art Deco, and this is where we were having lunch. It's this museum. And they have Art Deco Lalique, which is Art Deco. We know the straight lines, right? 1, 2, 3. Stylized, to simplify, to elongate. What is going on in the fine art world in the 20s and 30s? Cubism, right? What is going on in the fine art world? Mondrian with his Broadway Boogie Woogie with all the squares and the tic-tac-toe. So the straight line is in the fine art world, it's in the decorative world, it's in design, it's in the machine age, and here we see it in the Lalique. Where 1, 2, right here we see the 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2, 3, and the 1, 2, 3, and the up, down, up, right? So it's just metalwork, and it's modernism. The chevron, right? The rays, all this beautiful ceiling work. Art Deco furniture, right? The rounded corner, the 1, 2, 3, elongated, simplified. And we have lunch at the museum. This is the inside. They have the fashion show. And here's what I talk about. They were having a modern dance, a cutting edge. These women were dressed in white gowns and they were crawling the building. It was spectacular while we were having lunch at the Museo. We get back on the bus. My bus is parked in front of a Jewish temple. I'm Jewish. And like, wow, in Cuba, they have a Jewish temple. I went in. And it was a Holocaust exhibit. I don't think the exhibit changes. I think it was the El Holocausto Museum. And we took some pictures of the Jewish star and all this ironwork, which brings us to Casa de las Americas. That was what they used for the poster. And it celebrates, I don't know if you can see, but it's the North and South America. But let's look at what makes it Art Deco, right? The flat roofs. It looks like the Empire State Building, or Radio City Music Hall, or the Chrysler Building. In New York, they passed a law where the buildings have to get smaller. That's to let the sun come through the streets. Also, in San Francisco, in California, where they have earthquakes, if something falls off a skyscraper, so it doesn't hit the pedestrians below, they made these smaller embellishments so nothing would hurt pedestrians. So there's real reasons why buildings get smaller. Okay, here we see the eyebrow that wraps the building, those eyebrows, right, those flat shelves. All right, this is a very proud building. Notice all we see are buses. All right, this is right across the street. Looks like a ship. The Normandy ship is Art Deco. Look at the rounded corners here, the eyebrows, or those bandings wrap the whole building, right? Looks like a ship. That would be Art Deco. Except in Florida, see, everything is horizontal because we have flat land. When you go to New York, concurrently the skyscrapers, right, there's less land, so they build upward. We don't need skyscrapers in South Florida. This is a 60s racetrack. I just have a picture of that. It's not Art Deco, right, but we recognize it. It looks like the Gulf Stream, right? Okay, our hotel, Hotel Nacional. What's unusual about this picture? Now, the building is not all Art Deco. It has all kinds of elements. There's some Art Deco, 1, 2, 3, and it moves in and out, some flat roof. So it's a kind of mix. But what's interesting, in Cuba, there's no boats allowed. Boats are illegal. Of course. Everybody would come over to Broward, right? No boats. No boats in the water. There's a couple of tourist cities. You go far away and you can maybe rent a little something. I'm sure it's highly regulated. But we can't look at the water here without seeing boats and ships and, water skiing and, nope, no boats. Hotel Nacional. Now remember, I couldn't get pictures without people. The only way you could do that was go out 2 o'clock in the morning, and the architects are McKeed, Mead and White, which are from New York. It's some Art Deco, it's some Moorish, it's some Arabic. The only way to get a picture of nobody there is you go 2 o'clock in the morning. And this is the hotel. Now, terrazzo floors are Art Deco. So when you see terrazzo floors in Miami, those are the original floors. That was very common element. Here I am outside looking over the ocean. And I run into this posse. Okay, Dr. Ernesto Sanchez, his friends, they're married. This is a relative. This is the cab driver. 2 o'clock in the morning. So now I promised my parents I would not leave the group. So the first chance I get, what do? I leave the group. I'm invited for Sunday dinner, right? It's Friday night, and they invite me. You must come to our house, hospitality, which was thrilling. Now, Saturday and Sunday, you stay with the tour. You're allowed to go and pick. There were 4 restaurants called Paladares. Paladares, Cuba is now, you remember, there's no ownership, there's no business, so they're allowed to have a home restaurant called a Paladares. So everything was included up until this point. You were allowed to pick Friday night where you want, Saturday night and Sunday night which Paladares you wanted to go. And then you got on bus number 2 and it took you to wherever you wanted to go. In the morning, they had Art Deco lectures on radios and all kinds of wonderful things, but I don't want to sit in a lecture. I want to walk around, so I skip out on the lectures and I walk around, right, because we're right by the ocean. 1 car on the road. Not for any reason other than there are no cars on the road. And there's animals everywhere, and they're not hungry. They're all well fed. You try to give them something to eat, they don't want to eat. Now, this was an Art Deco hotel, a cheaper one, right across from Hotel Nacional, right at the front entrance, that one of our friends said, I'm not going to pay the $5,000. I'm just going to go to Cuba on my own and come to the conference illegally. What a great hotel. I have pictures of this later. So here I am walking around in the morning. Now, I said, this one's all painted. So wherever you were born, wherever you were living, when Castro took over, that's your house. So if you were living wealthy in a mansion, if you stayed, that was your house. If you lived in a rundown house, it was still rundown. So why this house is painted, how they got paint, I don't know. Here we are, I come back to get on the bus. There's a terrazzo floor. Look, not a boat anywhere, right? Very odd. And there's the cannon to protect the Hotel Nacional. And we have lunch. You could smoke cigars at any age. It's not like you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes or 18. There's no age limits there. And we're going to seamlessly shift. Let's see. We're going to seamlessly shift. We're going to escape. And we're going to, come here. We're going to shrink this. We're going to go to from the beginning, and we're on. That was nice. All right, let's jump here. So we go to now a theater, an Art Deco theater. And there's the fluted ribbing like at the Armory. There's some medallions. This is straight out of the Mayan temple. This is like Abbott and Costello, those Dracula movies, with the mummies and everything. Look at the floor. Isn't that fabulous? Look at this original furniture. They opened up just for our group. Isn't that amazing? There's the mummy, right? The mummy door, the little Mayan, all the Art Deco, the stripes and the balanced. We didn't talk about Art Deco. Art Deco was always symmetrical. Whatever's on the left will mirror image on the right. it's never asymmetrical like the letter L. It's always going to be very balanced. And if we cut that in half, we would see that. If we cut any of this in half, we'll always see it. Very, Mayan, Aztec, very Indian-like. And they're showing, we're in the movie theater, they're showing the Art Deco movie that they made. And there's our friend, the tall model. Okay, so here we have the steps going up, and just amazing place. Now out in California, they dress up in Art Deco clothing. I'm an artist, I dress like an artist, but when they're coming from all over the world for this conference, so everybody's constantly taking pictures. They come with, chests full of clothing, and they change their outfit for lunch and for dinner in the Art Deco style. So they look like they're right out of the 40s, right? Okay, so the next stop, we go to see a ballet at this Art Deco building. There's the reaching up, there's the 1, 2, 3 in the middle, and the stepping down, tile work. And again, the Americas, North America, South America. Cuba connects with both of the Americas. And I'm Aquarius, so I show my zodiac, or this is the terrazzo floor, and where everyone's running around concentric circles. They're running around in this theater. Look at this fabulous staircase. Right? Wouldn't you love this lamp? 1, 2, 3 circles, and futurism, Buck Rogers, out of this world. This is just like Radio City with the relief of the dancing for the theater on the way up to the bathroom. The ceiling has the stepping up roof. That's the ceiling. Here's the theater. I'm at the top of the theater taking a picture, this grand theater, and they're all going to go see a ballet. Rounded corners. But you know that I'm not going to sit still through the ballet. I grab Bruce from Sacramento and go, let's get out of here. Let's go take more pictures. So he and I walk around downtown, and immediately there is more Art Deco in Cuba. It's on every street. It's just everywhere. Not like only in the Art Deco district in Miami, because every area we went to, just in the streets. And there's those fluted ribbing, the 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3, the triangle, the square, the chevron. Might need a good paint job, might need a good pressure cleaning, but could you imagine, how beautiful this would be? Here's that Art Nouveau we talked about. See, the lettering is very, very organic and growing. This is Art Nouveau with the flowers everywhere. Back to Art Deco, we know that, the columns, the flat roof, the stepping down, the 1, 2, 3. See, I don't make this stuff up. It's all 1, 2, 3. It's so easy. When you all go home, you can remember that you were from Chicago and you're from Detroit, and you go, now I remember those Art Deco buildings. So we're walking in the street. Look at this, a busy shopping area. The floor is just like an earthquake. You have to be careful where you walk, where you don't get killed. It's like an earthquake and a hurricane, and no one ever fixed it. We rushed back because we didn't want to miss the bus, and the ballet was still going on, so we caught the ballet. Here we are Saturday night at the Paladares, the privately owned home restaurant. I picked one called Atelier. Atelier means art studio. Of course I'm going to pick the one that says art studio. And right away, there are murals on the walls. And this is the roof. Beautiful. And this is where we had dinner with the moon, the full moon. I mean, it was really so nice. And I love Cuban food. It was wonderful. I went into the kitchen. So this is a home restaurant. We go back to the hotel, and that building that we saw before, I went in with the double staircase. I wanted to see what that looked like. And it had beautiful concentric circles and just beautiful embellishment everywhere. The porthole window, the sexy stairs. All right. There's the artist in me taking all these geometric photos. Okay, now we have lunch at the Seville, and this is not Art Deco, right? Doesn't look Art Deco. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, but this is not Art Deco, and all this is too busy and no straight lines here. So we know it's not Art Deco. So why are we having lunch here, you would say? Well, this is where the presidents are invited to have, formal dinners. 9 floors in the elevator, until all 250 of us got up in the elevators. They had music everywhere. I bought a CD. And here we arrived at the rooftop where we're having lunch. And the reason we had lunch here is because all 4 sides, you could see the whole city. Wow. Look at the density of Havana. Wow. By the way, no cars. Think of this as like downtown Manhattan, right? Traffic jams. Nobody has a car. Just the taxis and the buses. Look at that city. Wow.
When were you there? What year was this?
I'm sorry, someone asked a question?
What year was this?
When was I here?
How long ago was this?
2 years ago, which is like today in Cuba time. Here with some of the other Art Deco people having the lunch. And again, 30 dancers, flamenco, start dancing around our lunch. So any kind of trip you might take to Cuba would be filled with art and culture. And we talk to the young girls. They can go to school for free and they can study whatever they want to study. So if they want to learn, become a dancer, they can go to school for that. We walk across, or we pass the military museum. We're not on the bus. We walk to the Bacardi building. Along the way, we see a car there. And the Bacardi building was built in 1930. Bacardi rum left there in 1960, moved to Jamaica. But what a beautiful, elegant Art Deco building with the 1, 2, 3, the flat roof. This has the Deco design that we talk about. There's your zigzag and the geometric and more zigzag ribbing. And we're going to see this window inside out, but here's the B for Bacardi in the octagonal, right? This could be jewelry. Right? This could be a ring, the way this is designed. And there's everybody taking pictures with the beautiful terrazzo floor with the chevron. And the sun, right? Egyptian worship the sun. Floridians worship the sun, right? So we have the sun rays. And here's Catherine Hausman. She's from the New York Art Deco Society. She doesn't dress in Art Deco, but she owns a vintage clothing store, so she would wear, somebody said, why are you wearing 50s clothing? And she said, why not, she's no longer the president of Art Deco there. Here's the sun rays again on the elevator. This is that window looking out. Remember we just saw it inside out? We see the zigzag. Look at the roof, the stepped roof. This was a closed building, opened up just for our tour. Here I am on the roof looking straight ahead through the ceiling. Okay, we get the idea of the 1, 2, 3 and the stepping 1, 2, 3 and the beautiful stylized curls. Pure Art Deco, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, little border Art Deco. We see these things all the time, right? It's just good design. It's geometric. Here we are. Now, when you go to Cuba, they ask you to bring 5 pounds worth of office supplies or 5 pounds worth of feminine hygiene products. Being a woman, I thought they probably really could use those feminine hygiene products, and that's what I brought. They also tell you to bring candy for children. So I brought all kinds of chocolate candy, and we were in an environment like this, and if I would see a child, I would run up and give them a piece of candy, and the mother would be so appreciative. What a treat to have a piece of candy. But people everywhere, just not in motor vehicles. We pass a quadrangle, 4 corners, with a monolith in the middle. It was a big circular roadway of an art school. So there's 4 of these Art Deco buildings, exactly the same, 4 structures around the monolith, the Alejandro Art School. And we know it's Art Deco because it's stepped back, it's stepped down, it has the columns, it has the ribbing, it has the relief. Here's the relief. Rounded corners. And they had some public art. There's an art school. Here's that monolith. Monolith is a single, tall sculptural structure, kind of Egyptian. And they're all going off to another ballet. And where do you think I said? I don't want to go to another ballet, even though I love ballet. We had a choice of getting on the bus and going to the maternity hospital. So of course, I went to the maternity hospital. I love ballet. Here we are at the Maternidad Obrera Hospital. So we're going to see the M and the O. We're going to see this close up. The rounded building, the steps, rounded corners. Here we go, the Maternidad Obrera, M-O, and it says 1942. And we're ready, we know it's Art Deco. You have 2 stripes here, 3 stripes here, and the striped vertical banding. Here it is, the M-O, Maternidad Obrera. Of course, we see picture of Castro. Everywhere you go, it's either Che Guevara or Castro. And originally, there's all these women. The hospital is open, and there's all these women waving down at me. But I waited for them to leave. And there's the 3 floors and the geometric ceiling. And when we get up to the 3rd floor, there's a mural of the lady, you know, with child. And there she is outside. So our bus now took a new way home, right? Because we were at this hospital that other people didn't get to see. And amazing that this is all painted, right? This is beautiful. Beige and peach and beige and mauve and light blue. Not that I'm saying it's Art Deco, but wow, why was this painted, you know? So now it's Sunday night. I'm off to Dr. Ernesto, and I tried to get someone to go with me. I didn't want to go alone, right? Free dinner at a local. Oh, I already have reservations. Oh no, I can't go. Okay, adventure time. So that, you know, you're in a 5-star hotel. The doorman gets you a cab, and how much? I was going about 25 minutes away. I gave them my phone number. I gave them the address. I told them where I was going, and the doorman says, "How much to get there?" $15. He goes, "Nope, too much." Calls the next cab, $10. He goes, "Okay, you could get in there." So for $10, they drove me 25 minutes away. And here we are. His father was an architect. He was a doctor. I mean, I had to go to their house, you know. And the floor in front of the house is all broken up, but we found it. It was amazing. And their house looks like Disneyland. They worship everything American, all the knickknacks and artifacts, and I wish I collect 50 ceramics, 40s, 30 ceramics. I would have loved everything, but I can't say, could you give me that? But amazing things. Notice the television. Everyone in Cuba has a television. And why is that? So they can hear Castro give speeches. I had said, like, where's the White House? Oh, nobody knows where Castro lives. He's like in hiding. There's no White House where the president lives. You know, makes sense. Okay. Look at this. All Mickey Mouse, all Batman. We watched The Proposal, which is on television this week with Sandra Bullock in Spanish. Now, I had my iPhone with me. I was using it to take pictures, and there was plenty of things that worked, even though I couldn't make phone calls. So my Spanish kicked in. We were talking Spanish all night, and I was showing him things like that you could show on an iPhone. And you have to realize, they're watching television. They see modern technology. They know what's out there in the world. They're just sitting and waiting patiently to be rescued for technology, for infrastructure, for all these things to come. And, you know, they have a lovely home. This is the kitchen. Their radio. I mean, this is the real radio, not like the souvenir radio, right? Oh, I would kill for any of these. Any of these. Havana Club, that's the famous thing. There's a poster of Shay with a cigar. This is where we had dinner, the bar. Now this is the outside area. They had and this is the rooftop. They had a dog up there. I guess they have a lot of gates. They're lucky. They have a lot of protection in their house. We're looking down. This is where we had dinner. This is one of the bedrooms. This is the floor. There's my feet. The little geometric. I love the texture and the cracked and the 1, 2, 3. It's just a, you know. And the bathroom. They have a toilet seat. But no water. We had to use, you know, kind of the bucket. And there's Mama Margarita. She was born in the house and it's still her house. She made a beautiful dinner. All my favorite foods, right? Plantains and tomatoes and arroz con pollo. And of course, everywhere in Cuba is the espresso. This is the restaurant part of the house. They had just started this. It was 3 months old at the time, where they were making pizza. And there I am with the doctor. You see Batman and all kinds of American things. What does this t-shirt say? Disco? Hollywood. Okay. Now, we got the cab driver. They all escorted me back to my hotel. Every night, I'm a night owl. You know, artists, we have our own hours. So every night, I'd go drinking and dancing, and then I'd have to write in my journal from 4 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, I'd forget what I did. So I would be up very late. And I had heard one of the people on the other bus that there was a John Lennon statue in the park. I love John Lennon. So I was like, where is that John Lennon? So they said, oh, we'll take you there. But there's no street lights. So it's pitch black. So they take me to this place. We get off. They sit me down with my phone. They take the picture. So the flash went off. But I didn't see it, so I didn't get to see this picture till I, you know, went home and looked at the pictures. But there I am, sitting with John Lennon at midnight in the park. And then we went to the club. We went smoking cigars and drinking mojitos, right a block away from our hotel, La Zona El Cuervo, the club, right? And this is David Soto. He started the Art Deco Society of Puerto Rico. Next morning, the Shanghai China people were promoting, you know, come to Shanghai, China. And who is that but Patrick, a nice Irish boy from Ohio, who's doing business in Shanghai and documenting Art Deco in Shanghai. So here he's showing pictures of Art Deco in Shanghai. And this was their big logo for their event, showing the modern Chinese woman. Look, she looks like Shirley Temple, right? They made their hair, they're playing mahjong, the modern woman of the 20s and 30s, the Art Deco woman. You know, women got the right to vote. Women are smoking cigarettes, right? The Art Deco woman is strong. And here they're showing the family, you know, coming down the steps, and the children, the family woman. But this is the iconic picture of the Shanghai modern woman. More cars. More street terrazzo. I go out walking because I leave after. I don't want to see more lectures. And I come across a little, you know, craft market. I bought this necklace. Very fine quality. Hasn't broken yet. I wear it all the time. For $1. There's two kinds of money in Cuba. There's tourist money and then there's Cuban money. More dogs. We go to On the bus, we go to Art Deco buildings now. We know this is Art Deco 1, 2, 3, the relief, the embellishment, right, the ribbing. And we go into this house with tile, more relief, the sun, the ribbing. Things need painting, things don't. And here we are with all this modern metal work. And we're in this house. Now the house he is an artist who lives in this house. Inside, outside. And we see this very interesting sign, Se Vende Casa. We saw this a few times. That means house for sale. How could you sell the house if you don't own it? Well, you do own it, you live in it. There's no bank, there's no mortgage, there's no credit card. if I gave you money for the house, what would you do with the money? If I gave you a check, how would you cash it? So we couldn't understand all this. This is what's really taking so long. There's no eco-infrastructure, right? They have to establish, how do people get paid? How do people do anything before it just opens up? But maybe they were trading houses. You know, maybe somebody wants to live there, wants to live somewhere else, is all we could figure out. Okay, here's the Art Deco lettering. Look how geometric the C is. We see this is Art Deco, the stepping up. We see here the geometric doorways. And we have a Cuban lunch. Now, I love Cuban food, but everyone else on the trip, ooh, what's plantains? And, you know, they found it peculiar. They liked it better when it was just like chicken, right? But, you know, if you live in South Florida, you're very well known with Cuban food. And I get to meet Patrick, who was running Art Deco Shanghai. And there he is. I'm wearing our Art Deco t-shirt. And now we walk over, we're not on the bus, to this very important building. Look at this, the concentric circles, the rounded corners, very modern building, very modern. You can see we're all walking to see this building and taking the pictures of this beautiful structure. So we're walking back to the bus, and I'm taking some pictures. See, one piece of the house is painted, one is not. This one is peach. No rhyme or reason. Okay, what's on the left is on the right. You have a center, you have the rounded patios, 1, 2, 3, up, down, up. Here's one that's painted, flat roof, just those little stripes make it Art Deco. Porthole window, the stripes on the rounded corner here. But again, they have barbed wire. You know, I guess you want to protect things. Look at those old-fashioned antennas, huh? Cars. Look at all the blues and the greens. I love this picture because just the relief and the car is streamlined. So I discover an art gallery. There's art galleries all over the place. In fact, they encourage you to buy art. You could spend money on art. You could bring it back into the country. They would love you to do that. And this artist was a collage artist. I teach collage at Old School Square on Tuesday afternoons to adults. I love collage. And it turned out the whole gallery, the whole building, was just one big newspaper collage. Up the stairs, in the hall, the whole building. And people were buying things to take home. It was very nice. Here I had to wait my turn to get into the Lopez Chavez house. A famous Cuban illustrator, beautiful, early, this is almost Art Nouveau. Here we see geometric kitchen. This is the kitchen. They live in this house. It's not a museum, right? This is the kitchen. Bathroom, look at that, Art Deco bathroom, right? And another floor picture with my shoes. Let's see, here we have the floor with the 50s table, my little zebra socks. You never know what you're going to see when you look down. Here's everybody running around. Here I am in the bedroom with the rounded window and the 1, 2, 3 and the curled, the stripes, the steps. And this is the woman of the house. Now, it was very cold when we went there. It was March, and we were having a cold March, so I knew it was going to be cold. But this looked like a warm day.
What do you call cold?
Well, as cold as it gets, right? How cold does it get here? You know, it was probably 70s, and that's cold for me. I got to wear a sweater. I'm a Floridian. Here at the Lopez, this is the most beautiful building. This is an apartment building. And we see, look at this great, the little stepping up, the fluted ribbing, all the relief, look at this. But you'll see broken windows, you know. But this is like an Art Deco, if this was in Manhattan, oh my God. It's just an Art Deco apartment building. All this relief and design and just beautiful. 1, 2, 3, the relief, stepping up, the windows, broken windows, right? in disrepair, reaching to the heavens. 1, 2, 3, just amazing. Terrazzo floor. Well, this looks like the ceiling. Just all this Art Deco. And this was the design that they took for the 12th Congress. If you remember the poster, it's one of the, well, here's 3 airplanes and stepping up. But this figure was the 12th annual. It's where they took the poster. So we're invited into one of the apartments. So now we're on the inside of those windows looking out. Wow, that's in your house. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we're taking pictures. Then we go into another apartment. Oh, could you let us in? She's an artist, and she's doing these large-scale paintings of money. This is like a picture of money, a $100 bill. This is her kitchen. Back in that hallway, look at the floor, 1, 2, 3, and the, oh, just so many terrazzo floor. The light, little triangles, right? Notice the disrepair. So we see another guy. Oh, could we go into your apartment? Sure, come on in. He didn't have such a great apartment, but he had a great deco doorknob, right? Look at that doorknob. His kitchen, maybe he's a bachelor. Right? Oh my, so we get out of the 10th floor and we see a staircase. There's 3 more floors without the elevator. Let's run up those steps. We run up the steps and we look down at the no-boat ocean. Right? There's just a couple of cars on the road, no cars anywhere. With all that density. A hotel probably is one of these pictures. But the other deco files beat us to the apartment already, right? We get up there thinking, oh, we're so cool. We're going to, but they're already there. He lives there. He's an artist. And we look around his house. He was a fashion illustrator. This is his bathroom. He painted the shower curtain. Here's his bathroom. Another Art Deco bathroom. And this lady says, come see my apartment. Yeah. She had the most beautiful apartment. This looks like Art Deco Miami, right? This is her light, her ceiling. This is a little relief painted just like Miami, right? With a little... And my name is Koskoff, K-O-S-K-O-F-F. Here, the K is R, Russian vodka. I had to take the picture of that. She had a computer. Wow, had that? She was on the internet. You could spend pay like $15 an hour and get on the internet, but you can't even get on. So somebody paid for 10 hours worth of internet in our hotel for business reasons. I don't think they ever even got on. That night, dinner at the hotel, black and white night, so we all wore, our Urte pearls, everybody's wearing black and white. And they have, an extravaganza with costume changes. Beautiful show at the hotel. Beautiful dinner. You could see the costume changes. The next day we travel for 2 hours. We go to the Dupont Estate. They tell us to wear a bathing suit to go swimming. It was not beach weather. This is what Cuba looks like when you leave Havana, right? The mountains, the coffee ranges, where I think they stopped making coffee as an export. I saw fracking on the beaches, oil well drilling. Like their beaches weren't like beautiful to enjoy. It's like stay off the beaches, we're fracking oil here. I was surprised about that. And we stop at a place, a pit stop to have drinks and buy tourist things, little tourist items. And there's a little walk view to see Cuba. We arrive at this DuPont estate in Veradero, it's called. It was the Xanadu Mansion, a golf club. Look at the water. It was not swimming weather. It was freezing. Nobody's on the beach. Oh, nope, nobody's on the beach. But look at lunch. Lunch! Lunch looks like a wedding when you're a tourist. With the covered chairs, fish, extravagant desserts. So we go back home. We get home by 5 o'clock. The bus is going to take us for dinner at 8 o'clock. more time to run out and take pictures. So I walk around the hotel and I discover, look at the old cars, right? The old cars. I discover 1, 2, 3 Art Deco. I discover this. Okay, whoa, rounded corners. There's the ocean, looks like a ship. And I discover a church. Porthole windows, relief, rounded corners. And I say, I wonder why this church isn't on the tour, because it was like a block away from our hotel. So I go inside, and it was beautiful. And I spoke to someone, and they told me, yeah, we have broken windows, we can't fix them, you know. And then there was this other place. This is 1960s design, a block from the hotel, right by that bar where we were smoking cigars. And every day there's people lined up from like miles away. What is that place? It was an ice cream place. Now, as a tourist, I just walked right in. I was paying with tourist money. I didn't have to wait online. But families of 4, for like in Cuban money, a nickel, which is like a fraction of a penny for us, can get ice cream for 4 for their family for a nickel. And they patiently wait online for hours. And it's a fun place. And you can see, it looks like 1960s airport in New York, like round, it's a big circle. It is kind of interesting architecture. But I just walked in and got ice cream. But it's very 1960s, very kind of postmodern, what they call mid-century modern. MIMO, M-I-M-O, mid-century modern, is the 50s and 60s. And has a lot of repeating patterns, but just not all the things that we see in Art Deco. Here's more MIMO, mid-century modern. That night is our last night, one of the last, well, towards the end, and we go back to where we had lunch, the downtown Havana. Now, what's probably going to happen when trade opens up and people really go there and they build up Cuba, they can't restore every Art Deco building that I showed you, or any of these buildings, I don't think. But they will probably restore the downtown, you know, because it's concentrated history. And the whole point of this lecture is about preservation and preserving our history, right? And how sad it is that we're going to lose all these wonderful buildings. I discover an Art Nouveau hotel. I take hundreds of pictures, but my camera doesn't work. But this is that Art Nouveau, that wavy, feminine stuff. I make it to where we're having one of our final dinners in the old plaza. And that night they had angels dancing everywhere. Angels and lights and an orchestra of music. And I bought the CD. And I happened to be sitting, look at the roses. I happened to be sitting right next to the band. The music was lovely. And the desserts. You know, so what they show tourists is, you could see, kind of different from the way the people live. So Javier says, well, I don't want to go back. It's only, 2 o'clock. When he went to the ballet that night, and downstairs from the ballet, when I went to the maternity hospital, he discovered a disco. So we jump in a taxi, and we go to the ballet Nacional, and downstairs is a disco. And we dance. Next day, we go to the cemetery. Miles of cemetery. I got lost. They had to send somebody to look for me because you're so busy taking pictures of Art Deco mausoleums and the beautiful things in the cemetery that they had to come find me. And there was an Art Deco Jewish mausoleum, right? Art Deco, Jewish star. Here, remember we saw the Lalique from the Catalina Lazo home? Well, this is her Art Deco burial place. And we go to the Hemingway estate. Ernest Hemingway had all the famous movie stars, Lana Turner and all these women that he had affairs with come to this estate. This is a picture of Ernest Hemingway. They tell us we'll see an original Picasso that he owned. It turned out it was this sculpture. We weren't allowed in this room. There was like a gate keeping us at a distance. And this is the estate. It's quite lovely. But, you know, we're used to these kind of things. You know, it's a lot like Florida, let's face it. It's not like people who traveled from other parts of the world, you know, think everything is so exotic. We're used to having wonderful estates that we visit, the Versailles things here in Florida. More animals are all sleeping there. More cars on display. There's our bus. They have pineapple drinks and coconut drinks. We go to the National Museum of Fine Arts. They went to see a lecture. I went to the museum. I was the only person in the entire museum, and it's gigantic. I paid $12 admission. In the middle of the day, I was the only one, and it was fabulous. It was all Cuban art, and it was like the first floor was 70s, 80s, 90s, and the other wing, the next floor was like the 2000s and the current things. You're not allowed to take pictures of the museum, so there are no pictures, but this is the museum, and we're going to have lunch here after they went to see a movie. But here's our lunch set up, an extravagant lunch at the National Museum of Fine Arts. You can see the 3 floors, huge complex. Here we are at lunch, again with the covered chairs. And here's some pictures of sculpture in the outdoor plaza there that I could take. Espresso cups, right? Coffee, Cuba. Farewell dinner, our last night at the hotel, in the ballroom, and it was like Art Deco jazz night. And who comes to visit me and say goodbye but my Cuban friends? And I'm crying, right? It was so sad. And I give her the 5 pounds of feminine hygiene products rather than turn it in to the tourist. Why not give it to someone I know? And they brought me a little gift. They brought me a little tourist picture of a lighthouse. And I'm crying. I'm so sad. They get thrown out. You have no place here. You have no business here. See, when I met them, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. And they kind of got into the hotel. Nobody noticed them. But they were not allowed to mix with the tourists during our gala. You know, big jazz night. Art Deco. Look at the little Ricky. Doesn't it feel like Ricky Ricardo, right? Okay. Here we are waiting to depart. No, you can't bring home the Cuban cigars. But I managed to spend like $400 American money on my own in the week. That wasn't covered, you know, with the tour. And when you arrive back at the airport, there are these flowers, and it says, all you need is love, right? The Beatles, all you need is love. And what I say is, God bless America. We do not appreciate what a wonderful lifestyle we have in a democracy and all of the things that we take for granted. So God bless America. And as Alex reminds you, we'll ask you to take that survey when they email you. I'll take any questions.